What's going on, guy? What's going on? Yeah, what a way to start a stream. What's going on, guys? Man, just back from vacation. I know I am a minute late. I hope you guys can forgive me, but I haven't done this in a while, so I'm still trying to get my bearings together. Why? My thing says live in 11 minutes. Looks like it's 8 o'clock to me, but if everything's looking good and sounding good, just let me know. I have a little bit of a new setup going on here. Can't hear me. BW, you say you can't hear me? Is there a problem with the audio? If there's a problem, let me know. Okay. Goober can hear me, and that's all that matters. All right, so I'm just taking a look at all my levels and whatnot. Everything looks good. Sound is good here. Sounds good. Okay. Great. What's going on, everybody? Thanks for hanging out with me. As always, I appreciate you guys coming in and, chatting. We got some things to talk about. There have been some pretty interesting developments in the world of tech over the last, I don't know, week. And that's exactly the time that I've been away. I wanted to hop on here, talk to you guys, see what questions I could potentially answer for you, and talk to you about what I have coming up on the channel. I mean, just to start out, I don't know how I'm sure, so at least some of you guys follow me on Twitter, but I got the 2990WX in, and that came in while I was away, and I am streaming on it right now. So I think it's doing well. Stream status is good. So we got 32 cores processing our stream right now. And I did want to talk to you guys a little bit about my testing today. Because basically, I got home this morning and basically all I've done all day is just test. It's just test the 1950X that I had, rerun all my benchmarks for that, and then do all my testing on the 2990WX. And I wanted to really get into some of the problems that chip is having. Problems, I guess I'll put in air quotes, because it's certainly underperforming expectations in a couple of different areas. And I wanted to see if I could potentially, I'm not going to say fix that, but maybe find some kind of a workaround for that and see if I can improve on any of the performance numbers while not hindering us too much in other areas. So that's basically what I've been doing all day. And I am old school. I go old school. Jeez, there goes a screw. So I got like 2 sheets worth of testing data. It's not completely filled in just yet, but I like to write everything down on pieces of paper. If I don't use like sheets like that, I use like a notepad or something, and then I transfer everything over to an Excel spreadsheet after I'm all done. So I use these papers because I have everything in front of me, and I transfer it over to Excel, and then I make charts that you guys then see in the videos. So, yeah, and then obviously we got the Nvidia news, or let's not call it news. I mean, it's news. It's clearly news at this point, but a lot of the information that we have is still considered leaks because a lot of vendors haven't verified any of this just yet, and so we could talk about leaks, and that's there's a lot of information there to digest, so I did want to get into that with you guys too. And then obviously any questions that you might have, I'll talk about on my vacation if you guys want me to, but I don't know how many of you are interested in what I did for the last week and change. But yeah, for those of you who didn't know, I was away. I went away with my wife. We went to Maine, and we drove up and down the coast, like the the southern coast of Maine, which is like it's really rocky and jagged, and there are a lot of inlets and islands and stuff like that. And we drove like all the way out to the easternmost point in the United States, where my cell phone, all of a sudden I had like service from Canada. Like I picked up my cell phone, sent me a message, said welcome to Canada, and I was on the TELUS network all of a sudden. And then we did whale watching. We saw, seals, and we did a bunch of hiking and nature stuff, and went to Acadia National Park for a couple days, which is like enormous. And then we spent some time in Bar Harbor and Portland. So kind of went all over like the southern part of the state, and it was a great time. But as I'm away, all this tech news is dropping, and I'm like, oh man, I have so much work to do when I get back. And yeah, BW, looks like I got some proper sun. I am pretty toasty right now, so I apologize if the coloring here is, yeah, hold on. All right, yeah, hold on. All right, I'm good now. But yeah, I got a little sunburned, and that's just from the hiking. We were hiking around a lot, and I am stubborn and refuse to wear sunscreen, and my wife yells at me all the time. But yeah, it was a good time. It was great to get away. It's always nice to spend some time away from the grind, because not only, as you guys probably know, not only do I do this, but I have a 9-to-5 job, so there's a lot that I have on my plate on any given day, and getting away from it for a week was nice. I had a couple videos queued up that you guys saw. I released them last week. I actually thought that the Thermaltake, the View, the Thermaltake Level 20 GT case review would get a little more, let's say, traction, I guess. I thought that would be a fairly heavily anticipated release, and maybe because of what was happening with between AMD and Nvidia at the time, people maybe weren't as interested. But that's a pretty interesting product, I thought. So I'd like to hear you guys' thoughts on that. All right, so there goes my intro spiel, and I will see what you guys are up to. Let me scroll back up and see who's in here. Say what's up, and then we'll get into some stuff. Rodimus, what's going on? BW, Manny Media Tech, Panzer Shrek, MB67, Ruben Raya, Ready Player One, Goober, Jeff M. Jeff M made it. He had to go out to Target, and he made it back, and I'm proud of Jeff M. And Jonathan Exley, Charles Phillips, Jolinator. All right, a lot of people in here. Good. Excellent. Thanks for coming out. Thanks for coming and hanging out on a Saturday. So let's see. What do we want to talk about first? I guess we could talk about the 2990 WX first. But let me read some comments. Okay. All right, so we got all right, actually kind of an interesting question right off the bat. All right, Sabishihito, maybe? I hope I got that. Says, how much of stream quality depends on setup versus bandwidth? And I mean, to be honest, as long as you're hitting, as long as you have even call it a 1080p camera of any kind of quality, after that it's exclusively bandwidth, because you're going to stream at a certain bit rate, and if your bandwidth can't handle that much information, then you're going to drop frames. So I mean, clearly you need, I guess if setup you're including like streaming hardware as well, then yes, you will need something. But even like a 4-core chip, a 6-core chip, if you're just streaming, if you're just doing this, probably just be absolutely fine. I did a couple streams using my older Razer blade, my 2016 blade, and that did fine. And that's a 4-core. That was an older i7, so it was a 4-core i7, and that did great. So I mean, right now, I think a lot of people are trying to get into streaming, and I mean, I think they might be going about it the wrong way. You need to have decent hardware, but you definitely need the bandwidth. The bandwidth is very important as far as maintaining stream quality, because otherwise everybody's gonna be watching your face in 320p or whatever. Rodimus asks, Paul and Kyle only got the 2950X as their sample. You got that AMD hookup. So AMD and I have an interesting relationship that I may or may not have talked about before on like a live stream or something. And I don't really want to get into the specifics of that relationship because I don't want to air anybody's dirty laundry. So it's been an interesting kind of up and down relationship. I have a 2990WX now. It did not come from AMD, but I do have one. So there you go. I guess I don't know if that answers your question, but I don't have the AMD hookup at this time. Natterman says this week has been crazy. Can't remember the last time just about every company had something big to show off. Well, I mean, this happens every once in a while. I mean, sometimes like companies' release cycles line up, and also you have companies now competing. Intel and AMD, or one company launches something, the other company's going to want to answer back, basically. So every once in a while, every once in a while, this is going to happen. But this has been one of the crazier weeks for sure. Somebody with a name that I cannot pronounce because it's in Asian characters says, "Does your new Razor Blade 15 still perform good?" Yeah, my blade. So my replacement blade has had no problems, none. So any problems that I talked about either on a live stream or in the videos that I've made about the blade, those are just not present at all with the new system, with the new unit. So I've been really happy with it. I took it on my trip. I didn't use it all that much on the trip, basically just as a repository for dumping photos. But it's been great so far, and my fingers are crossed that it remains that way. I don't remember when I got the new one. Was it a month ago? Maybe it was about a month ago, I guess. And it was around this time, that I had discovered all the problems with my older one. So things are looking good so far, and I hope they continue that way. And a lot of people, I've gotten a lot of interesting comments. So that video gets a lot of those videos that I made on the blade still get a good amount of views. It's a popular product, and it seems to be that a lot of people are of the mind that somehow I'm shilling for them, which of course somehow, somewhere, some way, everybody who does this on YouTube gets accused of shilling for some company or another, and I'm not. I like Razer's products, but that is something that I bought, and they provided me with customer service that was appropriate for the problem that I was having, and now I am happy with the end result. And I don't think that should be considered shilling. I'm not making any special exemptions for them in my hall of shame. The product that came, the first blade, was bad, but they fixed it, as a company should. So I have to give them props for good customer service, and that's it. So yeah, the blade's been good. Okay. Panzer Shrek says, thanks for sharing pics of your vacation. Enjoyed seeing parts of the U.S. I'm unlikely to visit. So, yeah, I didn't put up too many. I mean, I took thousands of photos. Granted, some of them were like, bursts where I was trying to capture something happening. But the end result was I've offloaded thousands of photos onto my computer from this past trip. And I only put up a couple. There are obviously, you know, photos of people, me and my wife, you know, that I had people take, or just, I don't know, stuff that might not be as interesting that I wasn't going to put up there. But I wanted to share like some scenery, which I think is, Maine is very pretty. It's very picturesque wilderness up there. Though, I mean, there's water everywhere you look if you're anywhere near the coast. So if it's not the ocean or a bay, it's a lake or a river or a stream or something. And it's great. It was a great time, and lots of lighthouses and like rocky cliffs and things that are unusual for somebody to see that's from Maryland. So yeah, it was great, and I put up a few pictures for you guys to take a look at. But I'm glad you enjoyed them, because I thought it was excellent. But yeah, I didn't want to share everything. I don't think you guys want to see. I don't think you guys want to see all my vacation pics. And at the same time, you know, some stuff's still private. So, but yeah, glad you enjoyed it. Did I see the Intel GPU video? It was 5 seconds long. I'm not sure what you're referring to. You mean like the announcement? I don't know if did they put out a promo? If they put out some kind of a promo that was anything but like a teaser image, then I haven't seen it. But if that's all you mean, then yeah, I saw that. Rodimus says Gamers Nexus and Hardware Canucks both got the VT. No one has done the XT yet. So the Thermaltake case. So the level 20 case, they Thermaltake asked me which case I wanted to see to test, and apparently I was the only reviewer in the U.S. Or in North America at the time that requested the GT. Everybody else requested the smaller cube cases. I don't know if that still holds true, but apparently they didn't have a lot of samples, so they sent out very few. And I really liked the GT. It was a very interesting case. I mean, granted, I think it's based off the View 71 interior. Looks similar. But the exterior is completely redesigned. You know, the 200 millimeter fans are real cool, and lots of space in there to do anything you want. Cable management room like crazy. It's a good case. Like, I mean, I'd recommend it. It's not cheap. The non-RGB version is like $190, and the RGB version I think is like 200, and it's like maybe $100 more. But I don't know if those prices are official or if they're just like Amazon reseller prices, because Thermaltake actually completely changed up their release schedule, their release date for that case. So I didn't even have the proper information when I made the video. And by the time by the time my video was uploaded and I had left, they said, hey, by the way, release date's getting pushed up. So it was September 1st, I think. And then all of a sudden it was, on embargo lift day is when they're going to be available. So the cases that I linked to, excuse me, were on Amazon, but they, I don't know if those were like, proper MSRP because it was launch day. Maybe they were limited stock. I don't really know. But regardless, not a cheap case, but still was great to build in it. Really easy. Things were in the right places. The modularity of Thermaltake stuff is really good. And I know that some people are against Thermaltake for things that have happened in the past. I have had discussions with them about that situation. And they understand that there was a problem. They understand why people might be upset. At the same time, what they're doing now is good. Like, they're pushing forward with new designs, new products, stuff that seems pretty innovative for the most part, and I support that. I think that they're going in the right direction, and so then again, I'm not one to hold grudges, so I understand some people might really dislike them still, and that's your choice, but give them a chance. If you're looking for a big case and you got the money to burn, maybe take a look at it. It's a good case. Okay. Robert Schmoyer says, I'm not a fan of the external design of the Level 20. Look more for the Evolve X like everyone else. So that's obviously going to be a big hit case as well. But the Level 20, if you don't like the look, I mean that's your choice, right? I mean that's personal preference entirely. So I don't blame you for that one bit. The Evolve X, like I think I've said, I either said this on Twitter or maybe I responded to like a comment on that video, but the Evolve X is going to be competing in a different space. It's a smaller case. It's more premium materials, like Fantech's case are always really well built, and it's not going to be able to house as much hardware. So, people looking for something that can hold like a huge water cooled build, I mean, probably won't be looking at the Evolve X. So, I mean, I think they're going to be appealing to two different markets, but I can understand why you might like one more than the other. BW says, any insight on the possible performance implications of Nvidia switching from SLI to NVLink? Haven't heard anyone give much attention to that featured rumor. So I don't. I mean, I don't. I want to talk about rumors that are available that you could go read about. The switching from SLI to NVLink is certainly a rumor that's out there. But as far as like performance implications, I don't know that any of that information is circulating. So don't want to touch on that stuff. So sorry, I'm not gonna. I read your question and I'm not gonna answer it. So I'm sorry. Evil Angel 971 says, how well do you think Intel is going to do in the GPU market? I mean, that's really, so that remains to be seen. They're gonna have the marketing budget, I feel, to really push. And if AMD is still kind of floundering around, there is space for somebody to come in and steal market share for sure. Intel's gonna have a tough time butting up against Nvidia in the gaming space, but we don't really know how deep into gaming Intel's gonna go. I'm sure their products are going to be gamer friendly at some point. But as far as like having a dedicated gaming brand, we don't know. We don't know how many offerings, how many tiers they're going to have. And this is still years away, so we have no idea what the performance is going to be like. But at the same time, AMD's GPU roadmap is not exactly inspiring right now, and if they're still kind of treading water, Intel's got a shot, man. They have, people know Intel, right? You think of computers, somebody on the street who doesn't do this, who doesn't watch these videos, you ask them about a computer and you say a couple of brand names and you say Intel, people know Intel. So I think that they're going to have a leg up if they produce a halfway decent product. Ken Chaos says, thoughts on 2PC streaming? I don't really know what you mean. Maybe clarify that question. He also says, also thank you for your Blade vids, holding off on getting it, but your thoughts were helpful. You are welcome. I'm glad somebody found them helpful. Okay. What do you think of the future of tech channels like yours with the current state of YouTube? I don't know. I'm hoping that that statement, I don't know, is pretty encompassing of the entire space over the past year or so. There's a huge amount of I don't know going on. YouTube has been terrible about being transparent with the changes they're implementing, why they're implementing them, how their algorithm works in any way, why they favor certain creators over others, and also what they're doing to retain or regain advertising dollars, because the platform relies 100% on advertising. So if the advertisers all bail, or some of them bail and you can't get them back, and the platform keeps growing, and then YouTube has problems sustaining their infrastructure because of it, then it's in trouble, right? But if we want to talk specifically about tech channels, I have had several conversations with several different large vendors in our space about tech channels, tech YouTube versus traditional print media. And I don't mean newspaper, but I mean like written word websites with photos, like Tom's Hardware and Anon Tech, and whatever other website you might like. Gamers Nexus, before they had a big YouTube channel. Vendors are almost unilaterally shifting to preferring to send marketing dollars to video-based platforms as opposed to text-based platforms. And that's because viewership is almost unilaterally shifting the same way. People want to see the products that they are buying. They want to see them in action. They want to see them on video. They want to see somebody using them. They want to see different angles and somebody, holding up whatever it is, this Ryzen screwdriver, and showing it to you and flipping it around and showing you all the things it does. And with a text-based website, that's unfortunately just not possible. And just think about what you can accomplish by holding something and showing it, as opposed to in maybe like a 5-minute video that somebody will watch 90% of, versus a 5-page written article that somebody will read the first page of and be like, I don't want to read the rest of this. So media as a whole is shifting towards the video, the visual, the interactive space. So YouTube and tech YouTube channels are what companies want right now. That's where all the product samples are going. That's where all the marketing dollars are going. That's why you see vendors themselves starting up YouTube channels. So I think as long as whatever the hell YouTube itself as a company is doing, as long as YouTube can maintain the platform, tech channels should do pretty well, I think. All right, so Jacques, I always mispronounce your name. Ahlers says, "Did I miss the 2990 WX problems?" So let me just dive into the 2990 WX. So I said, I'm streaming on it right now, but here's the box, right? I mean, you guys have seen this thing before. This is crazy. The packaging, the presentation that AMD puts out in their premium level high-end desktop stuff is just awesome. And it's much appreciated. It's a premium product. It's a very costly product. And the problem, and this is something that I actually am shooting my 2990 WX video tomorrow. So I don't want to give away the farm here. But let me just give you the basic gist. This is, without a doubt, the most powerful consumer-grade processor we've ever seen. And people are buying it for the wrong reason. It's completely targeted towards the people that think they need it, don't need it. People that are video editing don't need it. I don't need it. It's a luxury that actually has performance degradation because of how many cores there are and how many problems Windows and Adobe and other programs are having addressing all of these cores. And that, I mean, it may get better with microcode updates. You know, a Windows update might come down. We might get an Adobe update at some point that helps things. But for now, you're actually better off performance-wise with a lower core count chip or an Intel part if you're just doing something like video editing. However, for the very, very, very few people out there who are doing true multitasking, and I'm not talking about I have 4 Chrome tabs open and I'm playing Fortnite or something. That's not multitasking. Multitasking in this instance is I'm editing a video, I'm rendering a 3D scene in Blender, and I'm transcoding some footage in Handbrake, all at the same time. That is where something like the 2990 will shine. And the amount of people who do that true heavy workload, I don't know, who do those heavy workloads is so extremely minimal. And this is such a niche product. I have a little bit of an issue with it being marketed along the same lines as something like the 2950 and the 1950, which are true high-end desktop parts that should be in consumers' hands because they are useful for consumers. The 2990WX is really not, and it's not something that people are really going to be able to take full advantage of, and it's not cheap. So it's almost a waste of money for for the vast majority of people, and for very few people that think that they need it. I would recommend that they evaluate their needs first before they make that commitment. But what I could tell you, and something, this is kind of like, so this is kind of all right. I'll give you a sneak peek. I've been trying to fix it. So for those of you who have seen other reviews, the 2990 performs very poorly in Adobe Premiere, which is a program that I use all the time. So I kind of set out to see what I could do to make it better, at least until some potential fixes come from AMD, Microsoft, and or Adobe itself. So I'm not gonna give you all the results here, but that's what I don't know if you guys can see, but that's what this paper is. It's basically different ways that I have tested the chip and the results from each test. And I can tell you, without giving away all of my test results, that I found a way to make the 2990WX outperform the 1950X in Adobe Premiere, which sounds like, who cares, big deal, right? Like, that is not something that people should be happy about. But at this point, considering the problems that this chip is having in that program, I think it's a win, and it's how I am currently running this chip. And if you want, I can run Cinebench for you guys if you want to see that, and then you guys can try to figure it out for yourself. But that's up to you. All right. So let me see if anybody has any opinions on that. Well, maybe not yet. Maybe the stream's got to catch up because there is a little bit of a delay. So let me scroll back up, see if anybody else has any questions. Ready Player One. If Nvidia drops 2080 and 2080 Ti on Monday. What are your plans? My plans are to review them. You will see coverage on the channel if something gets released. If something gets released. No, you know, I mean, you guys know that something's coming out. That's pretty obvious. Or it's something that's getting announced. And whatever gets announced by Nvidia, I will cover. Spicoli 1775 says, "Can I have your Thermaltake setup? Love the channel. Keep it up." Nah, I think I'll keep that. Ken Chaos, any recommendations on whether to jump to the 20s or stay with the 1080 for a bit longer? We have no idea how the 2080 might perform, so I can't make that recommendation right now. Eric Peterson says, "What is the Thermaltake stuff from the past?" So they had a little bit of a they kind of ripped off some of Case Labs designs, and they got called out for it pretty big time. Most vocally by Jay, and they got taken to task pretty good by a lot of people for it, and rightfully so. It was a pretty bad ripoff, pretty almost an exact copy of some Case Labs cases, and there was some legal goings on around that I don't know how much of it is public information. I'm sure you can find out what happened, but you know, this is something I talked to Thermaltake about all this, and like they're aware. Like they, you know, the rep who works North America is a great guy, and he is well aware of all the issues that have happened in the past, and Thermaltake is doing their best to fix it. So, but if you guys want a little more detail on that, look up, like, just Google Thermaltake Case Labs or something like Thermaltake Jay's 2 cents. I think he did a video on it or something. Hold on. Sorry, my brother. Charles Phillips, what was your reaction of Case Labs shutting down? I was angry. I've kind of made a promise to myself to not get into political discussions on here. So I think if I really started to talk about what happened with Case Labs, it might go down a path that, you know, upsets some people and probably upset myself too. I mean, it's just, the fact of the matter is, no matter what the cause or causes of them going bankrupt was, they are now out of business, and that sucks. They are a boutique manufacturer, yes. Not a lot of people had access to their products because they are expensive, but the quality was second to none. The cases were a dream to work in, and it's just a shame to see. I mean, like, all the, think of like a famous build or something, or some, you know, a case that people have shown off at trade shows and whatever else, and you know how many of them are Case Labs cases. Like, that's like the case to build in if you're trying to build some kind of a showpiece, and it's a bummer. I mean, I had a relationship with them. Obviously I did Project Baron in cooperation with them, and good people over there that I talked to, and it just kind of sucks. I don't know. There's not a whole lot more that I could say about that without getting into things that I don't really want to talk about. Gamola says, "What is everyone's thoughts on the Corsair Crystal Series 280X?" So I know you're asking the crowd here, and by all means, you guys discuss it amongst yourselves. But just to give you guys a sneak preview, August's monthly build, which will be coming out at the end of August, that's going to be in a 280X. So you guys will get to see more of that case from my channel. Ryan Alexander, I sent my pics in for Show Me a Rig. Just wondering if you're going to do new episodes. Absolutely, yeah. We're going to be taping a new taping. That's kind of old school. I'm going to be shooting a new episode for season 2, and it should be coming out later this week. And thank you for sending in your system. Just keep in mind, I get a lot of submissions, so don't be discouraged if you don't get chosen, at least right away. But I appreciate everybody who sends in their rig, and I do see all the emails, and I do read them all. Manny Media Tech, where's the wine? I see you drinking water. I drank a lot of wine this week. We drank a lot. So I'm just water's good for now. Joe Brown says, I always pronounce it a non-tech in my mind. I mean, oh yeah, well, I mean, maybe I messed it up. I'm not sure. You could be right. My cat keeps knocking crap off the table. Well, sir, you gotta get on top of that, Rodimus. Natterman says there were some other channels that were saying I'd like to render videos and play games with the new 2990WX. Even that's not the right application. Not to say that it can't play games, but if your multitasking is anything and playing games, you're probably not the target audience for that chip. Honestly, it's not the best single core performance, and I mean, it probably isn't even enough to saturate anywhere near what that chip can do. So don't have X, Y, and play games in your reasons to buy 2990WX. Yeah, run Cinebench. Okay, I can run Cinebench. I'm also using a Stream Deck. Corsair sent me a Stream Deck, and I'm using that for the first time. So, I don't know. Let's hope this works. Boom. We looking at the desktop now? I hope so. So let's run Cinebench. And you guys, you see if you could tell me what's going on here, and I'd be curious to see if any of you get it right. So I don't know how much of this is on the screen. Let me move this over here. Maybe make it a little bigger. How about that? That should probably be good. So I could tell you that let me give you some information on like what my 1950X does in this test. So you see the score of 3626. The 1950X in Cinebench Multi gets 2900 to 3000, and the 2990WX in all cores active, all threads active, gets 5000 to 5100. This kind of gives it away, doesn't it? Damn you, Cinebench. Let's run it again just to see the little boxes run around. And then we'll switch back to the camera. Boom. So, you tell me what's going on there. What do we got? Yeah, Ready Player One, 32 cores, 32 threads. So, yeah, I disable multi-threading, and it seems to basically the utilization on all the cores goes up. I'm looking over at my my cheat sheet over here. The utilization on all cores goes up from between 57 and 65% to between 75 and 80%. And that brings down, that cuts a huge chunk off of exporting time in Adobe Premiere. And I think that this is the way that I'm going to run it right now. Just as a point of reference, stock, I'm exporting a short, like a 2-minute 4K clip at the YouTube 4K preset. And stock, the 1950X does it in 2 minutes and 4 seconds. The stock 2990WX does it in 2 minutes and 50 seconds. And with SMT off, the 2990WX does it in 1 minute and 51 seconds. So, significant improvement there. And that I could replicate that in Handbrake as well. So, granted, not the enormously powerful 64 threads that everybody wanted to use, but hopefully that can happen in time. But for now, this is the way I'll be running it. And it still gives me 32 cores, which is a better situation than the 1950X that was in here, which was 1632. This is 3232. So I'm hoping that, you know, it's going to give me a little bit of performance bump now, and in the future maybe a little bit more than that. All right. Edek Hawker says, I'm a new subscriber to the channel. I wanted to tell you that your channel is awesome, and your method of giving information on your builds and videos are great. Keep it up, man. Thank you very much, Edek. I really appreciate that, and welcome as a new subscriber. Glad you like it here. Yeah, everybody's picking up that I disable multi-threading. I should have made that tougher. I shouldn't have. I should have remembered that Cinebench has that stupid information on the screen. I don't know what I'm thinking. Sabi Shihito, have you tested Windows Server 2016? I have not. Manny MediaTek, my 7940X overclock can get very close to that. I mean, I'm sure it can. But I mean, keep in mind that if I turn on SMT, I mean, then I'm way beyond that. I mean, so the problem is that people who are buying this chip and being like, "Oh, my Cinebench scores are so high," it's not. That doesn't mean anything. That simulates nothing. Like it puts a load on the processor, but it doesn't mean anything for real world work. You know, like Cinebench has kind of evolved to be its own animal, where people are just competing to get higher Cinebench scores. The goal is to get higher Cinebench scores. The goal isn't to do better work or faster work. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure the 7940X is still an extremely capable chip, and I mean, I don't have one of those. But I will be doing a full review. So the video that's coming out, the video that I'm shooting tomorrow, is going to be just basically talking about the 2990 versus the 1950, where you should use one versus the other, and my testing as far as trying to improve the performance in Premiere. But I will have another video coming out where I'm going to compare like the 2990 to the 7980XE to the 7900X, 1950X, 2950X. I'll have all those processors in-house pretty soon and be able to run all those benchmarks. The N says, why only half the threads? So I don't know if... I don't know. I mean, I guess maybe... I don't know how well I explained that. So for some reason... So there's some problem with either Windows or Adobe not understanding how to properly utilize all 64 threads. It's just something that Windows wasn't built for, and Adobe doesn't really account for. I just dropped my wedding ring. Hold on. It's gone forever. So that's why you get higher utilization when you shut off SMT, and you're running 32 threads, and all the cores are basically just almost maxing out when you're running certain programs now, as opposed to just being utilized at 50%. So it makes for better scores. All right, so I'm going to scroll back up because people are asking me to scroll back up. Oh yeah, and keep in mind that I mean, I ran Cinebench and I'm also streaming, so it does affect it certainly. Ken KS says, so what would you say is the sweet spot for light multitasking like gaming, stream, video, playback, and such simultaneously? I think the Ryzen chips are basically the gold standard right now. Any of the 8-core Ryzen chips, 2700X is a phenomenal multitasking chip. It games really well. You could game and stream without a problem at all. And you could video edit on that like a champ. So, I mean, those are really good. I mean, even like the 8700K is going to be your best gaming chip, and 6 cores and 12 threads at, really nice IPC is also going to give you some really good performance in gaming and streaming. But I think if you really want that sweet spot, you're probably talking Ryzen 7 right now. As I talked briefly about before, my August build is going to be in the 280 Corsair Crystal 280X. That's going to be entry level, an entry like, I don't know how to pronounce this. I don't know how to put this. Sure, entry level video editing system, I guess. And that's going to be a Ryzen system, but it's going to be Ryzen 5 because it's going to be basics, right? I hope I'm not spoiling things too much. But yeah, once you step up to wanting to do things like gaming and streaming and maybe doing some video editing and stuff, I think Ryzen 7 is where you need to be, because you could get like you could still buy first gen Ryzen 7 parts. You could buy a 1700 Ryzen 7 1700. You could probably get it for like $200, and that's just a crazy deal. Intel can't touch that. Natterman says Nvidia just showed Quadros though, right? They didn't show any gaming GPUs. You mean the announcement from SIGGRAPH? Yeah, that was just Quadros. Odyssey OG says, speaking of high-end cases, did you ever try the Phanteks Enthoo Elite? I never did, and so I don't actually have any contact with Phanteks, and I wasn't about to go out and buy that case. Really expensive. I think it costs like $900. And I've seen plenty of them. I've seen plenty of builds in them. Like CES this year, they were all over the place. Kyle's build is in, his Elite build is in one of them. I don't really like the way it looks. I don't like the chamber design. I think it's a little awkward looking. I don't know. Not a huge fan of it. Not a huge fan. It's personal preference though, as most cases are. Okay. Down back to the bottom-ish. Bottom-ish. Edda Corker says, I'm planning a 2700X build in December, but I'm wondering if AMD is going to release 3rd gen in the first quarter of 2019. Waiting 90 days could be worth it. There's no information on that right now. So don't don't make your plans based on a what if, especially if the rumors haven't even started yet. So go with the 2700X. It's a really good chip. Any talks with review on the Deepcool Matrix 55 coming out in a few weeks? I don't know that I know that case. Let me look it up. Oh, I have seen this case. Okay. So I have not talked to them about it, but I can. It looks pretty cool. Entry level, cheaper. It's like 60 or 90 bucks or something like that. 40 to 90 bucks. Yeah, looks cool. So yeah, I could definitely hit them up about that. Ready Player One says, love my 2700X gaming and production, no problem. Yeah, it's a great chip. AMD is killing it right now. Manny Media Tech says, if I don't show up on YouTube anymore, it's because Mrs. BPS Customs divorced me. She threatens me all the time. She'll never do it. Edith Hawker says, I live in the U.S., so there is online Black Friday deals coming up in a bit. I guess it is August, right? So, I mean, a couple more months. But that's a long time to wait if you need something now. Larry Schwartz says, forget gaming, I just want to open 300 Chrome tabs. Well, that's more of a memory thing. But you go for it, man. If you do, send me a picture. There is an AMD roadmap that says Q2 2019 on Zen 2. Sure, that's, I mean, but we don't know anything. There's not, I mean, that's what we know. We know that there's a roadmap and there's a name and that's it. So I don't count that as a rumor. I don't, or any significant information. Chris Cheney says, thank you for the content. I'm considering my first ITX build based off of your Inwin A1. That was a really fun build. That was like, I was sad to take that apart, but that was a fun build. It's challenging building in a case that small, but for a case that small, that is a really well thought out, well put together case with some really cool features, built-in power supply with the appropriate length cables. And I put an 8-core processor and a 1080 Ti in that, and that was awesome. So, I mean, if you want to replicate that, I go for it, man. I better be a real good system for you. Rain XCV says, I game and do video editing. Should I get X299 now or wait for 9th gen CPU? So the rumors on 9th gen are that they're coming sooner rather than later. So if you can wait, I might wait a little bit of time till we get some more concrete information, because I think that might that might be worth it. But I mean, X299, X299 is a great platform, but you're buying into something that may not be around for that long. So tread carefully, I suppose. And it's not cheap getting in there either, because you need quad channel memory. And the boards are expensive, and the chips, I mean, unless you go the 7800X, anything higher than that is going to be pretty, a pretty penny. Any thoughts on the Thermaltake Core P1? So that is like it's like their signature line of cases at this point. Like, nobody else has really anything like that, and that is what Thermaltake is kind of being known for, is their P1, P3, P1, 3, and 5, and 7? 1, 3, 5, 7? Whatever it is. those are really cool cases. The P1 is their tiny one. I think it's mini ITX, and I mean it's same benefits as the other ones. It's open air, so you're gonna have to clean your case, but it's really well constructed, and you could hang it on a wall, or you could stand on a desk, or lay it flat if you really want to. It's very versatile. It's a good case. That's what I mean. I did my doing my water cooling for beginners in a P. What am I? P5? I think it's a P5. And it's been really good to work in. Roll G says, "What's up? What's up? Roll, Roel, roll, Roel." Jason Levine says, "Will 9th Gen have hardware fixes for Spectre and Meltdown? I'm waiting until chips have fixed these issues." I don't know. We don't know yet. Okay. All right. So I'm kind of at the end of what I wanted to talk about. But if you guys had any questions about or wanted to talk about like the Nvidia stuff that's been leaked, especially like the cooler designs on the new cards, I don't know if you guys have seen anything on Twitter or on videocards.com or OC3D, but the cooler designs for PNY, MSI, EVGA, Palette, maybe one or two more. All those cooler designs for the new cards have leaked. And at this point, I think we could pretty safely say that, you know, those leaks are probably pretty solid. So, what do you guys think? Like the EVGA cooler is apparently clear, which I mean we haven't seen it in action. It might light up or something. But from those images, do you guys dig a clear shroud, a clear cooler? Because that I don't know. I'm not really sure about how that's gonna look. The rest of them look pretty standard. MSI is going with color neutral stuff. What else? The PNY card looks pretty cool too. Jason Levine says, if the majority of 2080 Ti's are triple fan designs, will Nvidia stick to that lame but cool looking stock cooler? Well, I guess we'll find out on Monday. We don't know yet. We haven't seen. Nobody has leaked the reference design cooler for the new cards yet. So we'll see. Manny Media Tech, what's coming up for the next couple weeks? Can we get a hint? Sure. So this week, there'll be a 2990 WX video that'll be out either tomorrow night or Monday morning, and then later in the week it'll be Show Me a Rig, season 2, episode 2. Let's see what else is on the calendar. Oh, okay. So then after that, I have my August monthly build. I have a video that I was planning, and actually maybe kind of get some feedback on what do you guys think about this. I get a lot of products that come through here that I don't have a chance to feature or review. They're products like power supplies, fans, coolers, even some motherboards, some other products that I can't really think of off the top of my head, maybe a keyboard or something. But what I wanted to do was to do a video where I just kind of had all these products together and called it like random stuff I haven't had a chance to review, and kind of briefly give each product a minute and just kind of like say, you know, here's this product. I haven't tested it, but check it out. Here are the features. Would you guys be interested in something like that where I showcase maybe 10 different products, kind of rapid fire style? Just you know, to get some information out there basically, and to because you know, companies did send this stuff to me for exposure. I don't know, but let me know if that seems at all interesting to you guys. I also have a video that I'm planning on doing where here this came in while I was away. So these are the sound Peats with a P, the A2 wireless headset with built-in mic. I know nothing about these, and the gist is here. Why don't we open them? The gist is, I get a lot of emails from Amazon sellers. Most of them based in Asia somewhere, China, but a lot of sellers selling things that you guys don't care about. I probably get 2 or 3 emails a day on this, and some of these companies they sell headphones. And what I've started to do is, to the companies that are offering to send me over headphones or earphones or wireless buds or something that look at least moderately okay quality wise, I've just started to say yes. And this was one of them. What do we think about this? What do we think about the Sound Peats? Sound Peats. So I've started to say yes to these companies, and I've started to aggregate a bunch of headphones, earphones, and earbuds that I want to put into a video. And I want to do a video on just inexpensive, unknown products from Amazon that, you know, may or may not be good, and I want to test them. Oh, geez, this is all plastic. Ugh. And I may or may not break them in the course of doing this video. I don't know. But it'll be a good showcase for these products, and it'll give me a chance to test them out and see if they're any good, I guess, and maybe recommend some hidden gems to you guys. I could tell you already that one of the pairs of Bluetooth buds that I got was about it's like a $45 pair of true wireless. So they're like ear pods. They're just like little nubs that stick in your ears. They're great. They're unexpectedly really good. And I'm surprised, completely surprised by them. So you never know, right? What you're going to find. So, I mean, I don't know. I hope you guys would dig that kind of a video. I was actually kind of excited when I thought of this video concept because, it's just kind of a little off the beaten path, and I don't always want to be doing the same thing over and over again because I think people can get bored of that. All right. So let me go back to the comments here. Rodimus says, plug them in and tell us how they sound. Well, I threw them on the floor, so I'll do it later. Those look like the cheap Bluetooth headphones I got off Amazon. They are cheap Bluetooth headphones on Amazon, so they might be exactly that. Chris Cheney says, this is the first stream I've seen by you. Do you stream on Twitch? No, I just stream here. I don't do video gameplay or anything like that. I just don't have the time. So if I'm going to do it, then I just do it here, and I just talk to you guys. Call the video Rapid Random Review. That sounds great. Maybe I'll do exactly that. Maybe that'll be the thumbnail. That's like a good thumbnail caption. Tweet that to me, because I don't want to forget that. Thanks, man. BW, what's your day job? I have talked about this in the past. I work for an insurance company. I do large loss claims adjusting. So you know, your house burns down or something like that, it gets blown away in a tornado. As terrible as that sounds, there's got to be somebody to help you out with that, and that's me. Remix Review says Brian Rodimus is onto something. R cubed. Yeah. Yeah, that's actually a really good name. Rapid Random Review. I'll use that, I promise. So I think that's going to be it for the stream, guys. I hope you took something away from it. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the conversation, and I know I gave you the inside track on the 2990WX video, but watch it anyway because it's going to be real good. And I hope that I answered your questions. And if I didn't, there'll be a next time, I promise. So that's it. Thanks for watching, guys. I'm gonna wrap up now. Head back upstairs. Maybe try to find my wedding ring that fell under the table. Yeah.